watching the best. Fox 10 News at 9.
Tonight at 9, an ASU football player arrested. He's facing charges after a woman was hit and killed while crossing the street in Old Town Scottsdale this weekend.
Plus, a case of road rage in the West Valley caught on camera. A driver finds himself with a gun pointed at his face.
And a new wildfire to tell you about. It has flared up in Arizona. It's called the San Rafael Fire, and it exploded overnight. But we begin on this Sunday evening with a Fox 10 News alert. A drowning call at Lake Pleasant. Peoria fire crews say several people were thrown overboard when the boat ran into strong waves that were caused by heavy winds.
An 83-year-old woman was pulled from the water and rushed to the hospital. And at last check, she is in very critical condition. No one else was hurt. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office will lead the investigation. We are looking at live pictures of the US 60 near McClintock. It is still shut down after a water main break on Saturday morning, and it could cause a major traffic nightmare as we drive toward the Monday morning commute.
Yeah, Fox 10's Marissa Sarback out there live. She has the very latest, including the best ways to get around what is bound to be quite a mess, Marissa.
Yeah, guys, the best ways to do that, it will simply be to avoid the area in general. We are talking about a 3-mile stretch of the 60 that has been closed this weekend. It will be closed tomorrow during that morning commute, and it will be for the foreseeable future, according to ADOT and the city of Tempe. Both out there assessing and repairing today just to see what happened. And again, we are talking about all of this because 8 million gallons estimated ended up on that freeway.
In my time at ADOT, I have not seen anything quite like this.
A city of Tempe water main burst early Saturday morning, flooding the freeway and causing it to look more like a lake.
The pipe is about 50 years old, almost 50 years old. A pipe of this type and design would normally last about 75 years.
A water utility spokesperson says this is the first transmission main break they've had like this in the city's history.
Pipes corrode. You know, it's steel cylinder pipe, so.
Now the city of Tempe and ADOT working together to drain the water and figure out how deep the erosion and damage runs.
We're working with our contractor to cut a hole in the pipe in McClintock so that we can send a camera down the line to actually pinpoint where the break is.
In the meantime, ADOT has to alleviate what will likely be a traffic nightmare.
There are two big major freeway routes. That's the 202 Santan in the south and the 202 Red Mountain in the north. Those are our major routes right now while US 60 is down. I also do want to point out that from McClintock to the I-10 in the westbound direction, that is still open. And then McClintock to the SR 101, that is still open in the eastbound direction.
Drivers will likely be affected for the foreseeable future.
It's pretty backed up, yeah. I'm not gonna wait, so I'm just gonna take the back roads.
Stuck on the 101 off ramp, so.
A lot of people taking it today?
Yes.
The city says they've actually been in the planning stage of an assessment project to inspect these pipes for the last year, but the project hadn't been executed yet.
We knew that this was a possibility, so we were trying to get out in front of it, and unfortunately we didn't quite get out in front of this one.
Now, ADOT is responsible for the freeway, but the city of Tempe is actually responsible for the water main that burst. So any damage, they're going to be financially responsible and taking the lead on this incident. But at the end of the day, that ultimately means that the Tempe taxpayers will be footing the bill for this. We are live for Fox 10. I'm Marissa Sarback.
Marissa, thank you for that update. An ASU football player accused of driving under the influence after he reportedly hit and killed a woman with his car.
It happened in Old Town Scottsdale early Saturday morning as she was walking across Camelback Road. She's identified as 23-year-old Nora Bruther of New Jersey. The suspect here, Stanley Lambert of Tempe, a defensive end for the Sun Devils. He has been released as he faces DUI charges and lab results are still pending, but police say more charges are possible. ASU Athletics releasing a statement tonight. We're aware of the tragic situation over the weekend involving one of our student athletes. Our thoughts are with the family and friends of all involved. We are gathering information and do not have any other statements at this time.
Avondale police are investigating a road rage incident where a man pointed a gun at a driver before jumping in his car and speeding away. This unfolded yesterday afternoon in the area of Avondale Boulevard in McDowell. Francisco Garcia says he was driving home from the movies when he hit heavy traffic. Yeah, look at that. That's the confrontation there. He says a black Dodge Durango drifted into his lane and he tried to avoid an accident, so he quickly moved into another lane and may have cut off another driver. Well, you see how that driver responded. Francisco says once he stopped, this guy comes up to his window, starts banging on it. You see him there, put a gun in his face.
He's yelling, he's banging, he's telling me, don't be doing that, don't be cutting off. But I mean, I don't think that justifies him pointing a gun at me. I got out of the car to get his plates, and that's when he assaulted me, gun on top of me. I could feel the gun on my back when he was trying to scramble with me. The main thing for me was just to get the plates and try to get it out there. Hopefully the cops can get him pretty soon.
Now, he was not able to get the plates clearly. The identity of that man remains unknown. You can only see part of his face in some areas of the video, but if you think you recognize this guy, please call Avondale Police.
An investigation is underway tonight after 2 people are shot in the West Valley. It happened today near 35th Avenue in Lincoln. Police say a pickup stopped next to a group of people, and the driver said that he and the passenger had been shot. Both men were taken to the hospital. No word on how they're doing tonight or what led up to the shooting, but no arrests have been made so far.
A man is in critical condition following a shooting this morning in this parking lot. It's of a Quick Trip gas station near the I-17 and Camelback Road. Now, when police got there, they found both the victim and the suspect. The fire department took that victim to the hospital, said to be in extremely critical condition. The police were able to detain the suspected shooter.
A memorial today for a woman strangled on a city bus. Family and friends met near a park and ride at 27th Avenue and Baseline today. It's where the bus stopped after Diane Craig, known as Bubbles, was having trouble breathing Friday morning. She later died at the hospital, and then authorities realized that she'd been strangled to death. And tonight, police are looking for this man, 26-year-old Joshua Bagley. Police believe he is responsible for killing Craig. If you have any information, call 480-WITNESS.
Oh, the wicked winds not making it easy for firefighters battling fires across Arizona. Let's start in southern Arizona, where the San Rafael fire broke out yesterday evening near Patagonia. Officials say it's burning within the San Rafael State Natural Area. That's about 80 miles south of Tucson. The wind-driven flames scorched 10,000 acres. It has shut down part of State Route 83 and forced some evacuations. A red flag warning is in effect in southeast Arizona, and dry brush is making it even tougher for firefighters to get a handle on this one.
And in northern Arizona now, the Crooks fire is 96% contained tonight after burning more than 9,400 acres. It started on April 18th, about 10 miles outside of Prescott, and tonight the cause remains unknown.
A search is on tonight for a missing teenager from Mesa. Take a look. This is 15-year-old Kennedy Marie Diamond. She was last seen late Saturday night near Dobson and Guadalupe. Police say she has several health issues, including bouts of anxiety, and may be in danger. If you think you see this young girl, please call Mesa Police.
Well, up next, more trouble for New Mexico. The largest wildfire in the nation just got harder to fight thanks to Mother Nature.
And later, a suspected DUI driver collides with nearly a dozen cars before he stops. We've got the security video to show you.
And the city of Scottsdale rolls out the red carpet for moms on Mother's Day. And we take you to today's Mom Palooza on the boardwalk.
We are all set. We have an action-packed Fox 10 Sports Night at 10:30. All lined up. The D-backs put another series. Our photojournalist Brad Gatz with a cool story on Pierre Cardin, who has come up with a Suns anthem and a whole video and everything. And speaking of the Suns, yes, we'll have highlights of Game 4, how the Mavericks are making the Suns work. Robbie Baker will have the post-game reaction. We've got it all for you, and it all goes down during Fox 10 Sports Night at 10:30.
You're watching Fox 10 News at 9 with Linda Williams and Brian Webb.
Leaving behind a lot of my stuff because I really don't have like where to put it, so I'm just taking the most valuable stuff that I have that I actually need. So pretty much everything else has to stay.
The worst wildfire in the country right now is right next door to Arizona, and fighting it just got even harder with the arrival of strong winds in New Mexico this weekend.
1,400 firefighters are battling the blaze from the ground and air. President Biden made a disaster declaration, and that unlocks federal money to help respond to this.
And some 15,000 homes are in the path of the flames. Fox Weather's Max Gordon has more from the fire lines.
This multi-day wind event is tough for several reasons. First, embers can be carried by the wind up to a mile away from the main fire, sparking new spot fires. Second, firefighters might not be able to get the air support that they need because firefighting aircraft like air tankers and helicopters won't be able to fly. The Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fire is a combination of two separate fires that merged. The Hermit's Peak fire started as a prescribed burn more than a month ago, but firefighters lost control when the winds kicked up. The Calf Canyon fire's origins are under investigation. Now the combined wildfires burning northwest of Las Vegas, New Mexico and the Pecos Wilderness. So far, 172 homes are confirmed to have been burned, with thousands of residents evacuated.
It's a really sad kind of to see all the people that lost their homes and lost a lot of stuff. And, I know we lost a building and stuff, and I don't know, I haven't been to my house.
Shelters for both people and their livestock have been set up throughout the area. Around 1,500 firefighters are trying to get the blaze under control. Their biggest challenge over the next few days, brutal winds that could gust up to 60 miles per hour and extremely dry conditions.
We've had wind events, we've seen wind events, they last a day or two. This is an unprecedented wind event. This is a wind event of 5-6 days. Here, a 60-hour red flag event is just really unheard of in this part of the world, for sure.
Protecting houses and other buildings is a main goal for firefighters during this wind event, but it's a tough task. This area is drought-stricken and is primed to burn, with the wind sending embers high into the air. In Las Vegas, New Mexico, Max Gordon, Fox Weather.
And back to Arizona, the city of Scottsdale invites moms to enjoy Mother's Day on the boardwalk.
It's called Mompalooza, and the city rolled out the red carpet for all moms and their families, of course. Fox's Irene Snyder got to go.
It's a one-stop shop for mom this Mother's Day at the Arizona Boardwalk for Mompalooza.
So all the mothers can come out and go shopping, get a chair massage.
While the kids are being entertained with bounce houses, face painting, and other games.
You want to take care of mom, you want to spend time with her, take her shopping, take her to lunch, and you can kind of just do all of that here, and then, the kids can have fun too.
The Aurora family spent their holiday out on the boardwalk.
Mom is a really loving person, and she always cares about me.
It's loving and so relaxing and enjoying lovely moments with my kids.
One of the vendors, Annie Garcia, is printing out matching t-shirts for moms and kids with the help of her little co-worker and son, Enzo.
He loves to come to shows with me, and we get to spend time together. He likes helping. He helped set up a lot of things for us. He built this chair for me, so it's a perfect time to bond, even on a special day like this.
Because at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. Spending time together and helping mom feel loved and special.
I think that it's fun, and I'm going to get Mom a surprise for Mother's Day when we get back home. I love her very much.
Irene Snyder, Fox 10 News.
Mother's Day weekend, not surprisingly, is typically one of the busiest of the year for flower shops across the valley. Arizona Family Florist is located near 16th Street in the I-10. They were so busy this morning, they couldn't handle any more additional orders. For those looking for a last-minute Mother's Day gift, a lot of people just, stop by. You could just get a flower off the front walk on the way in. I think your mom would just be happy to see you.
Trying to give me a hint for you?
Don't you? No, I'm just saying. Workers say there's nothing wrong with a delayed Mother's Day surprise. Why not send them tomorrow?
I mean, we understand. I mean, that's the beauty of being a mom. We're just very understanding.
Very understanding. We could come out with gifts, greeting cards. Happy belated Mother's Day.
Yeah, I don't think my mom's going for that.
We'll make $1 million. Last year, Americans nearly spent $2.7 million just on flowers on Mother's Day. And according to the National Retail Federation, I'm sorry.
What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
Over $31 billion were spent overall this year.
Okay. Well, you've heard the saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and now that applies to flowers as well. The nonprofit called Floranthropy is behind this effort. They collect floral arrangements after events like weddings. and then take them to hospitals, hospice centers, and assisted living facilities. Pretty good idea, right? Started by a group of medical students who see struggling patients every day, but they also know what a free flower can do to put a smile on someone's face.
Definitely just, brightens everyone's day. And even with a lot of in the wedding industry, like millions of dollars of these flowers are just thrown away. So sometimes like the family will take them and things, but most of the time it's just too many. So why not?
What a good idea. If you'd like to donate, we have a link at fox10phoenix.com.
I love that. You have a lot of beautiful floral arrangements for these events, and then at the end of the day, it just goes to waste. So that's a great story. Hey, what's not so great are the winds. It was a very gusty day, especially up in Arizona's high country with wind gusts over 50 miles an hour. More breezes in the forecast. We have wind alerts to talk about. We'll talk more about it coming up in just a couple minutes.
Fox 10 News is always on at fox10phoenix.com. Brought to you by 72sold.com. Sell your home thousands above market, then stay up to 6 months after closing. Get a higher price for your home today at 72sold.com. Fox 10 News is back.
All right, check this out. It kind of looks like the middle of winter. Drivers in Truckee, California, taking it a bit slow today. Strong storms moved through the area there, bringing rain and snow near Donner Pass. And tonight, well, the National Weather Service, they're warning drivers to go slow, making their way through these types of conditions.
You're watching the Fox 10 Weather Experts with Stephanie Olmo on Fox 10 News.
And the same storm has cranked up the winds yet again across our state. It got even gustier earlier this afternoon with the wind gusts over 50 miles an hour across portions of northern Arizona. As you see in Flagstaff, you actually peaked out at 52 miles an hour, also up in the Grand Canyon, close to 60 in Kingman, and also out east in Window Rock. It got pretty gusty here as well in the valley with wind gusts over 30 miles an hour in Phoenix down to Casa Grande and also Gila Bend as well. As a matter of fact, it's still pretty strong at this time, not as strong compared to earlier, but as you see, we are close to wind gusts around 40 miles an hour in the Grand Canyon, 40 in Flagstaff, 26 in Sedona, 47 in Kingman. Because of the strong winds, is kicking up some of that dust. It was earlier today we had a dust warning further up north. Now there is the blowing dust advisory for La Paz County that remains in effect until midnight tonight, and visibility down to a quarter mile and over to a mile. So of course you want to take it easy. If you do come across an area of blowing dust, make sure to pull aside until that passes. As we see some weather alerts that remain in effect. Besides that blowing dust advisory, there are wind advisories in effect until tonight. And again, as we head into your Monday, all across northern Arizona, as you see here, covered in the tan, including right along I-40 and also in that Flagstaff area. Future winds for tomorrow afternoon. We can expect sustained winds in the 20s and 30s yet again, with higher gusts around 40 to even 50 miles an hour across northern Arizona. Getting breezy here as well in the valley. Of course, not as strong as up north, but we may experience wind gusts around 20 miles an hour. Another breezy day, breezy to windy day on tap as we head into Tuesday, as well as a couple of storms will continue to impact to the west. Out ahead of it, we'll get those winds. And when we're talking about these types of conditions, the strong winds, the warmer temperatures, and how dry things have been, this is when we are concerned for that fire danger. And as you see, it's going to remain pretty elevated. This is why we have a red flag warning that remains in place and will remain in place also as we head into Monday across northern Arizona again. Sustained winds around 20 to 30 miles an hour with higher gusts, 45 to 55 miles an hour, and make sure to obey those fire restrictions that do remain in place. Today ended up being a cooler day compared to yesterday. Yesterday we had triple digit reading. Today we're back into the 90s, low 90s in Bullhead City, also Lake Havasu. We reached 96 degrees here in Phoenix. That's 4 degrees above the normal high temperature, the record standing at 110 set back in 1989. But as we continue into now this new work week, temperatures will begin to cool off as we head into Monday, back down into the upper 80s, warming back up into the 90s, and then back down into the 80s. So a little bit of a roller coaster as we head into this new week, and then triple digit heat later on in the weekend. Tonight, temperatures settling down to the 30s in the Grand Canyon, Flagstaff 46 tonight in Kingman. Tomorrow highs will be in the 80s from Bullhead City down to Lake Havasu, 71 in Kingman. A quick look at the extended forecast here. So I showed you the next 3 days, the temperatures, then we start to warm back up. Upper 80s on Thursday, and then we'll see a bigger jump on Friday back into the upper 90s, and then triple digit heat, unfortunately, as we head into the following weekend. Linda, Brian, I know we're not excited about this, but it's bound to happen.
I liked our thought earlier. Just ignore it. Can we do that for the next 4 months?
Just take that upper tier of temperatures and ignore the bottom tier.
Let's just eliminate the bottom.
There
How
you
about
go.
that?
Yeah,
Just-
the 5 days. What do you need 10 days?
why do you need
5
10
days
days?
is plenty.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
That's what I'm going to do for the 10 o'clock. Just delete the second line.
We fixed it.
We're
Thank
on to
you.
something here. Finally.
Thank you, Steph. Up next, one last-ditch effort to save this man, an Arizona convict, from lethal injection this week. How his attorneys are trying to stop it.
And 2 Valley bartenders are badly burned, making flaming drinks. Where and how it happened.
Also, protests outside the homes of Supreme Court justices this weekend. We're back in a moment.
Your Fox 10 weather experts, Corey, Stephanie, and Ty, all day on the station for the best country and all-time favorites. 102.5 KNIX. Fox 10 News is back.
Former Maricopa County Attorney Alistair Adele will be laid to rest tomorrow.
The funeral will be held at St. Francis Xavier Catholic Church in Phoenix. She died on April 30th from what her family calls, quote, health complications. Adele was the first female county prosecutor in Maricopa County, but she also struggled with alcohol and an eating disorder. She resigned from office in March after mounting criticism over the mishandling of more than 100 cases. Adele leaves behind a husband and 2 young boys. She was 45 years old.
In North Phoenix, 2 bartenders are injured while making flaming drinks. It happened this morning at Salt near Happy Valley Road and Otera Parkway. Firefighters say a 19-year-old woman and a 25-year-old woman suffered first and second-degree burns to their upper bodies. They were taken to a burn center for treatment. No word how they're doing or how it happened.
One person taken to the hospital following an overnight mobile home fire here at this mobile home near 7th Street and Union Hills. The crews got there to find smoke and fire coming from the home. Everyone inside was able to get out okay before fire crews got there. One person was taken to the hospital for minor burns.
Clarence Dixon's attorneys are trying to stop his execution set for this Wednesday. They claim the sedative being used is past its expiration date, and they're expected to ask a judge to block the lethal injection based on those grounds. The state's lawyers contend those drugs don't expire until August. Dixon's lawyers are also expected to hope to get him declared mentally incompetent so he cannot be legally executed. Dixon was convicted of sexually assaulting and killing an ASU student in 1978.
The manhunt continues tonight for a convicted killer and the former Alabama corrections officer who's accused of helping him break out of prison. New video shows Officer Vicky White at a hotel hours before she disappeared with inmate Casey White. Fox News correspondent Charles Watson has details.
We're getting a look at Vicky White's movements in the hours before she allegedly broke convicted inmate Casey White out of an Alabama prison. Hours before the escape, Vicky White is seen in this newly released security footage pacing and looking around a nearby hotel before she allegedly used her power as a corrections officer to walk admitted murderer Casey White out of prison for a court appointment officials say did not exist. The hotel is allegedly where Vicky White stayed the night before going on the run, and it's also near the location where police say she pre-positioned a getaway vehicle for the two.
I think there's no doubt in anyone's mind now this was completely premeditated by Vicky. She sold her house beforehand. She made sure she had funds on hand before she did this.
On Friday, authorities located the fugitive's escape vehicle. It was located about 100 miles north, partially spray painted at a tow yard in Williamson County, Tennessee. It had been sitting there for nearly a week after police say the convicted inmate and corrections officer deserted it along a rural road. One of the big questions now is why would a 17-year career corrections officer, allegedly do all of this just a day before she was set to retire. Well, love may be the answer. Officials say Casey and Vicky White, no relation by the way, were engaged in some type of jailhouse romance. And while it appears Vicky White is willing to go to extreme lengths for their special relationship, some say it's a mistake to think Casey White would do the same. Sheriff Rick Singleton pleading with his former deputy to give it up.
Get out while you can and turn yourself in to local authorities wherever you're at.
The U.S. Marshal Service is asking the public to be vigilant. They've released these photos of Casey White and his tattoos, some of which authorities say are affiliated with an Alabama white supremacy group. And these photos of Vicky White, who may have dyed her hair to disguise her appearance. There is a reward for up to $25,000 for information leading to their arrest. In Florence, Alabama, Charles Watson, Fox News.
A big mess at an Oregon shopping center blamed on a suspected drunk driver, and it's all caught on camera. Well, nearly a dozen vehicles damaged across the parking lot there, as you see. The driver, 68-year-old John Cody, was hurt and taken to the hospital. No word why he took aim on those cars, but he's facing several charges, including DUI, reckless driving, and reckless endangerment.
First Lady Jill Biden showing some motherly love to the Ukrainian people on this Mother's Day. She visited a shelter, meeting several Ukrainian mothers and children in the embattled country. Dr. Biden also met her Ukrainian counterpart, Olena Zelenska, in western Ukraine today. This was an unannounced trip she made to the region. This comes just one day after a Russian bomb flattened a school in the Donbas region. As many as 60 people were killed in that strike.
President Joe Biden met virtually with G7 leaders today to discuss the war in Ukraine and announce new sanctions against Moscow. Ukraine's president was also on the call with the world's top economic powers. The G7 pledged to stop importing Russian oil, a major source of revenue for that country.
Across the country, pro-choice activists are speaking out. Demonstrations were held across the United States, including outside the homes of Supreme Court Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Chief Justice John Roberts in Maryland. Yeah, this was just last night. Police on hand outside the homes of the two justices. Activists posted the home addresses of conservative justices online and called on abortion rights supporters to make their voices heard. Justice Clarence Thomas has said the court will, quote, not be bullied about making decisions. Meantime, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has called for a vote on making abortion rights federal law, even though Democrats don't have the votes to make that happen.
A new kind of smash and grab heist is going on, targeting eyeglass stores. The thieves looking to sell the stolen frames on the black market. Alexandria Hoff has more.
We started seeing this trend of eyeglasses stores being targeted earlier this year. Around Washington, 6 were hit in January alone. Another in March cost a Georgetown store over $100,000 worth of merchandise. But $20,000 is about the average, and that's what was taken when a group of young men unleashed on the My Eye Doctor store in the D.C. suburb of Alexandria, Virginia. Police released this video showing cases being shattered last month. At one point, a worker can be heard telling the suspects that the police are on their way. Prior to the chaos, an employee says he politely greeted the group when they came in, as he would any other customers.
And then within the next minute or two, all of a sudden, they're smashing and grabbing. Kind of still getting over it a little bit, to be honest, obviously, because it's unexpected, surprising.
Communities around the country have been plagued by similar heists, where the goal is to quickly resell the high-end frames. Fairfax County Police are advising employees in eyewear stores across the area to be on alert, especially if they see individuals entering in a group wearing items to conceal their identities.
Just try to call 911, call police immediately as soon as you can. If you find yourself where it's too late and they're already in the store, we would advise employees to call 911. get to safety. And the main thing is do not attempt to intervene in any of these actions.
In this case, investigators are looking for 4 males ranging from 17 to 23 years old, plus a getaway driver operating an older model black Toyota Camry. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
A baby fox trots his way right into big trouble. The little guy had to be rescued after falling into a hole at a construction site in San Francisco. The fire department showed up with power tools to cut through the steel pipe. They think the little fox will be okay, but he didn't stick around for a checkup too long.
Back here in Arizona, there's a high school student who is amazing and has transformed a hobby into a career. It's also brought her and her mom closer together. Steve Nielsen has that story.
In every piece, she takes something insignificant and makes it beautiful.
Scrap tubing, pipes, all the little branches here, just nails. And this is all individually cut from a big old piece of sheet metal.
Faye's passion for art started early, and now it's being perfected.
From deconstructed bicycle cassettes where the chain kind of hooks onto. This is the bike chain.
The graduating senior at West Mech, a trade school, thrived being able to focus on welding.
I definitely didn't expect to find like a trade school that I'd be able to start so early. So I just felt really grateful to be able to find this class and be able to be ready for work right out of high school.
Her mom was happy to encourage her daughter in this career.
I was thrilled. I mean, it's a very unusual occupation for a young woman, but I was absolutely thrilled that she just wanted to go for something that was really speaking to her at that time, something she was interested in. And plus, welding is an incredible long-term career opportunity for someone. So I thought it was wonderful.
And she says it's only brought them closer together.
She does all the welding, but a lot of the design and the color and the resin we do together. It's been a blessing in every way you could imagine.
Faye isn't sure what the future holds for her, but she knows it'll involve welding in some way. And West Mech has given her the tools to follow that passion.
It became a bit of a hobby, you know, pretty amateur kind of stuff. But as I progressed, my skills progressed and my interest in the trade progressed. So I joined this class to be able to further my career in not just artistic welding, but commercial, structural, whatever else I may end up doing.
Steve Nielsen reporting. Great story. Faye's work is on display right now at Arts HQ Gallery in Surprise.
Up next, Valley Fire Department is trying to make waves, warning people about the dangers of water. How they are doing it. Up next.
Plus, one spot you won't want to go swimming. Yeah, these shark-infested waters don't look terribly inviting. It's a pretty popular beach. We'll tell you where it is after the break.
Fox 10 News is back.
A 4-year-old boy is still recovering after being pulled from a valley pool Saturday morning. He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, although breathing on his own, and the family doesn't know how long he was underwater.
Now, when summer gets here, pool safety becomes even more important, which is why the Gilbert Fire Department and Swim House are teaming up to talk about pool safety. Anita Roman has more.
Roll. Good. Head back, head back, head back. Chin up. Good.
Drowning is fast and silent. It can happen in as little as 20 to 60 seconds.
Good job, Nora. Every time you look into the face of one of those kids that you're working on, you see your own.
Deputy Chief with Gilbert Fire, Mark Justice, says driving parents to the hospital after responding to a drowning call is one of the worst assignments.
And I'll tell you that the only calls that have really stuck with me through the years of the drownings that I've been on.
And that's one reason the department has teamed up with Swim House for the month of May.
What I would say is follow the ABCDs of water safety.
Owner of Swim House, Jim Gleason, says A stands for adult supervision, B for barriers, C for CPR classes for adults, swim lessons for kids, and D stands for devices that are approved by the Coast Guard, like life vests for kids who cannot swim.
Ready, go.
Each of those layers of protection add up to be safe. There's no one magic bullet. You have to have all these layers of protection in place to make sure to give your kids a chance to be safe in and around the water and avoid tragedy.
We talk about being there with adult supervision, but just being there is not the key. Being present in that entire time that you're there is really the key to what makes that effective.
Both Gleason and the chief say that one designated adult who was supervising has to put the phone down. Eyes have to be on the water, and the kids at all times.
You got it. Ready? So all the way back, okay? So back to your turtle.
And while they're talking safety, Gilbert Fire and Swim House also kicking off a kids' shoe drive to benefit One Small Step AZ, which provides free clothing and shoes to kids in the community. The drive runs through May 20th.
Good job, Lucas.
Anita Roman, Fox 10 News.
Well, here's one place where you won't want to go into the water. Deputies in Florida releasing this video of shark-infested waters. This is off the coast of Pasco County. They're warning beachgoers, please be careful. You wouldn't have to warn me, just put up the video. And I'd say, you know what? I think I'll skip that beach. The video was captured by an aviation unit near Anclody Island earlier this month. You can see at least 36 sharks circling there.
A mysterious illness has killed 3 American tourists vacationing at the same resort in the Bahamas, the Sandals Emerald Bay Resort. It's unclear how they died, but foul play is not suspected at this time. One man was found unresponsive in his villa on Friday, then a second man and a woman were found in another unit. They all showed signs of convulsions, but no signs of trauma. Another woman was flown to a hospital in stable condition. U.S. officials are keeping an eye on the situation. A major legal victory in Florida's fight against the opioid addiction problem there. Walgreens has agreed to pay the state more than $680 million. The state sued the pharmacy chain, saying it was a major player in the crisis for the past 20 years. And the latest win brings the settlement total for Florida to more than $3 billion.
Here's a heartwarming story out of Florida. It's a reunion. There's a dog that disappeared at the Tampa International Airport, but has landed back home safely. Last week, Rocky, the dog, slipped out of his collar and ran off while being loaded into the car. Every time this little boy cries like this, I start to tear up. Okay, the owner says her parents were moving from Puerto Rico, so they had hired a company to bring Rocky ahead of them. But after a week-long search and a few sightings, a police detective finally spotted Rocky in a wooded area by the airport runway.
He went right in the trap, the door closed, and I pulled up, and that was the end of Rocky's journey at TPA. So we're happy to have a happy ending to this one.
That's a lucky dog. I mean, an airport is no place even for a person to be outside running around. It's chaotic. But a little dog like that, tears of joy and amazement when airport officials saw Rocky. They managed, I was just talking about all the dangers he avoided, the aircrafts, the vehicles, but all smiles at the end for Rocky's family. They say they never lost hope. Amen.
Up next, Little Leaguers catch a break on a new ballpark to play on, and we're going to take you to East Phoenix to show you the brand new fields.
And which movie hit a home run at the weekend box office, and which one struck out?